In order to be really good at our job, we have to know each other in order to improvise off of each other, and we have to be super connected. That is rare in a lot of jobs.
Because I am like a cishet white dude, there is this sense of like, well, you don't really believe that though. You're not really like listening to those folks. I'm like, no, but I do. And whatever I say online is legitimately me. I'm not just gonna say something to say it.
I kind of felt like a little bit of a Nepo baby, where I feel like, I don't know, I didn't earn it like everyone else earned it.
A lot of people kind of assume that y'all, once the cameras stop rolling, y'all are just kind of waiting for the next shoot.
No.
Well, they put us back in containment.
No. Yeah, we go and we charge into the wall and we go.
They feed one of us depending on performance. It's pretty cool.
I mean, I feel like last week I wasn't a shoot week, and it was one of the busiest and more stressful weeks that I've had in a while.
Yeah.
I was just doing so much stuff, I felt like.
Yeah, I think we all have so much going on outside of shooting Smosh, which is great, which is what makes us kind of, dynamic.
Yeah.
I would say we're doing shows and we're doing voiceovers and we're hanging out with friends and we're connecting with family and
It's important to have a balance, and I think we've all found that pretty well, at least from what I can tell.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. I definitely overwork myself, and so lonely isn't the right word. Alone is often a good word because I'm kind of doing my own thing and staying very busy doing that, but it's not like, oh man, Trevor won't even give me his phone number. I can't even hit him up if I want to,
Yeah.
So
I wish I just went and played video games for the intermediate time. I wish I just had a week of doing stuff and then the rest of the time I wasn't doing anything. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I learned for me, the more that I'm shooting on a regular basis, I desperately need introverted time. So in fact, some of the alone time is necessary for me, or else I get really, really burnt out.
yeah, same.
I found that when I was going into an office, it was a lot easier for me to separate my life from work. I could just turn off my brain to work stuff. But now that I don't have that, I feel like it's even harder for me. I'm constantly thinking about work and doing stuff on my own, and I'm finding that on the weekends after work, my brain is always running, and I need to really be intentional about shutting that off, not thinking about content and just I don't know, reading a book or something.
I think I'm happiest when I have a really full plate that I'm able to manage.
Yeah.
But you do sort of hit the wall at a certain point where if I have to miss a Thursday stream because there is a booking or I'm gonna go do something social, I'm always like, well, I could maybe add one Friday night before my flight to Oklahoma. And some people are like, you don't have to, you can just stream later. And I'm like, no, that's 2 free hours before I leave for the airport.
I think it's so hard to say no.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm learning is no is a complete sentence. I will say yes just so much because I literally want to do it all.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, oh yeah, I'll do that show or blah, blah, blah. And then I'm just need to be charged.
Do you find it's harder to say no to others or no to yourself?
Great question, Damien.
Thank you for watching Assumptions, only on Anthony Network.
I find it harder to say no to others. I feel like I've let them down, especially when it comes to work. But a lot of my friends are in my industry, are in my creative world. So I find it harder for me to say no to them.
What was it like to get comfortable with not only the audience, but also other cast members?
Well, mine was a different journey. I don't know. Mine started almost 5 years ago, which is insane.
Yeah.
I feel like I was really freelance, so I met the cast in little moments. I met you at a different time. I didn't meet you all at once, and you were all like, "Hello, Amanda, welcome to the cast."
Right.
It was Shane at random times, or Courtney at random times, Olivia at random times, you at random times. So it was I feel like I didn't fully integrate into the cast until a couple years. And then when I did, I was like, oh, there's so many different moving parts of this cast. And I loved it, but it's funny because when we did my funeral, people were like, oh yeah, I was like, I wanted to say so much, but I didn't know so much. And I was like, oh, I was super private.
Interesting.
I didn't realize how private I was the first 3 years. I don't know if it was on purpose. I mean, it wasn't meant to be protected, but it's just I didn't know you all at once. I wasn't as tight as I am now.
I think at least in my experience, Smosh functions a lot socially as like a big group.
Yeah.
And like I personally get really close to people in like one-on-one or smaller dynamics where you can like open up and talk about real stuff as opposed to like how's the weather. And I love everybody at Smosh, but even now like there is such a group dynamic and it's hard for me to specifically have the same kind of closeness I would.
Yeah, it's more ensemble now.
Yes.
Where I feel like back then, like my first sketch was with you.
Yes. Which one was that?
And Shane and Ian. Home Depot or something.
Home Depot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Way back in the day.
The music's in my head now.
Yeah, so that I felt like I had more one-on-ones. But I like to get all the information, so I feel more like comfortable to open up when I have like the whole information as a whole. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
So now I feel more, so I understand. So you're like more one-on-ones.
Yeah, very much so. And I think when there is a lot of moving pieces in a group, sometimes I have a difficult time figuring out the dynamic or like when I should jump in or like, you know, things like that. So sometimes I think I maybe come across a little bit, curmudgeonly isn't the right word, but it's just like a little bit like removed, like a little bit aloof.
It's funny because I feel like my first interactions with everyone is like pseudo coworkers because we were in the same office space, but not really coworkers. And so my first conversations with everyone were usually just in like the shared kitchen. Like I remember that was the first like 10 times I talked to Ian, like we were both just getting coffee at the same time.
Hello.
Joke's on you, he's always getting coffee.
He's just in there, man.
I just pour these back and forth.
Yeah, so it was a very slow introduction, I feel like. And then once I started being in videos and kind of like coming over occasionally, I kind of felt like a little bit of a Nepo baby. Almost, where like I was like a Rhett and Link like Nepo baby where, oh yeah, Trevor's here, like Red Rover, send Trevor on over. And I go over for a video. And then like, yeah, and honestly, I'm still like kind of struggling with feeling that way, where I feel like, I don't know, I didn't earn it like everyone else earned it. I didn't audition and come in and like have to show off like what I just kind of like appeared. I don't know. I feel different, I guess, than everyone else because, I mean, Damien, your stream and your content, but you also do voice acting and you're an actor. And I feel like I'm not that, whereas everyone else like is, and they're, doing auditions and trying to book stuff. Yeah, I came from culinary school and like I just feel like a different background. And so I find that sometimes I feel like it's hard to fit in, but I feel like I'm getting closer to everyone and yeah, it just might take a little bit.
It's funny, I don't see you as a Nepo baby at all. I see you as like someone who paved their way with Mythical and did something totally unique, and we brought you over because you're so good at gaming, which is like, hello.
Yeah.
Compared to me.
Finally someone that can take down Amanda, maybe.
You're like a little bit below me.
Yeah. You'll get there though.
So I don't see you as a Nepo baby at all.
No.
I see you as like, oh yay, we get to like, they're sharing. They're sharing you.
It's no less valid. Like you do very much belong here and you're very good at it.
Thank you. All right, I'm healed.
Someone assumed that the age gap between cast members makes it hard to relate on screen.
Are we talking about me?
I think it...
She said the age difference makes it hard to relate.
Drive me home,
Did you not put your hearing aid in this morning?
Hello. You boys are young.
It's me, Damien from work.
Damien from work.
I'm Anthony's son.
Are you my son?
No, it's me, Trevor, your great-great-grandson.
Oh, God. Oh, I never liked you.
No, I think it adds to it. I think that having like a dynamic group of people is fun. Like it leads to stuff like me being, I'm a little Fortnite gamer, and you like not knowing what Fortnite is. And me being like, Fortnite,
a fort and a night.
It like leads to fun, like different like pop culture references, like things that I don't get. And it like people find that funny when I make a dumb reference that you don't get, or you make a reference like Trevor's so young he didn't get that. And I mean, you could say that about anything. You could say that about people coming from like different backgrounds, like growing up on like the West Coast or the East Coast, growing up in a religious family or not religious. Like, okay, whatever, my bad. But
like, I have this neighbor. She's 65, and damn, we get along so well. Of course, she schools me on so much stuff. She's like, you know this? She's like, you don't know that movie? I'm like, no, I actually don't. But it's kind of fun. Then I get to like watch that movie and be like, like, I think it's great.
Pepper says Trevor clinged to the Smosh cast while working at Mythical because he wanted to be around people his own age.
Oh my God.
Well, got news for you, bud.
Well,
That's really
That's
funny.
right, I'm 21. It's pretty cool.
I was the young kid at Mythical. I think for like 3 years, I was the youngest employee. And I don't know.
That's why you feel like a Nepo baby.
Is that why?
I don't know.
I don't know. It probably has something to do with it. Because yeah, I was always the youngest. And it was always a joke and a bit that like, oh, Trevor's the young guy, like bring him in. And yeah, I don't know. I think that I cling to the people at Smosh because they're awesome, because they're really fun and cool to be around. And it's stuff that I love to do. Like I love doing like kind of improv comedy and being funny in a looser format.
Yeah.
I love being in Mythical Kitchen videos, but it is different when, you know, food is the medium of the funny. It's a different type of performing, I guess.
I also feel like clinging to someone has like it's kind of like a loaded connotation. Like you weren't like, ha ha ha, hang out with me. It's like you're a joy to be
Yeah,
around.
not at all.
I got my pincers in,
Yeah.
got my claws.
He's latching.
Yeah, I guess more of it was easy to fit in, I guess. Like
Yeah.
it was easy to hang out. It didn't feel like something where I was trying to cling or like forcing. Like it did happen pretty naturally, I think, like over time, which is nice.
Damien, I want to move to you. There were people assuming that when you were first joining the squad that you felt out of place.
Yeah, but I feel out of place like everywhere I go. I'm just like a socially off person and I just feel different all the time, and that's okay because I joined Smosh Games and the squad was very much a separate thing. You know, I'd interact when I could, and obviously I knew Shane very well, but you know, it was a different beast, and there wasn't a whole lot of crossover. And then, you know, most of the OG Games cast is, you know, I was the last one to sort of come over to Mythical when Mythical saved Smosh. And so there was an aspect of being a little bit of an other. And I don't think it was in an intentional way where anyone was trying to exclude me. I think it was just, well, we're back to business as normal. And I'd be like, but also I'm here. You know, there is a very specific dynamic here that I think we fleshed out in a very healthy way, but it's like, it is a job, but there's also a lot riding on the fact that you are close with people and are friendly. So it was sort of, it's weird for a job to do that. It's weird for a friend group to do that. And it's, again, none of the Smosh people now had anything to do with it, but it's still just like, so I think that, I don't know.
It's unique. It's unique. Our job is very unique because it's like, in order to be really good at our job, we have to be connected with each other. That is rare in a lot of jobs. Like office workers, they might not even see like Amy down like 4 cubicles.
You don't know Amy?
They might never even have a discussion.
I've seen Severance. It's the same way.
But it's like with us, like we have to know each other in order to improvise off of each other, and we have to be super connected.
Yeah, and I to be honest, and I love everybody at Smosh. I think it's very much a me thing, but I do feel disconnected sometimes, and that's just kind of how it works. So, you know, even in a video, sometimes I'll feel like a third party like watching. I'm like, oh, those two are having a lot of fun. Be like, oh, I'm supposed to be part of this. I'm like, oh, but do I support that they're having fun and just let it happen, or do I try to join in and do I support that way? And yes, and then I'm like, oh, the moment's passed. You've been thinking for a minute.
Yeah.
Like, ugh, okay, you know.
That explains some things. Where you're like, I'm like, Damien?
I don't know, but that'll be the time where you're like doing an Irish accent, and then Trevor's doing an Irish accent. I'm like, oh, they're Irish together. And I'm like, not every joke needs me. Like, and I'm also Irish, a third person now. Like,
we always love more Irishmen.
that's true, and I've always said that.
I've always said that.
Shout out Chance.
I get that though. It is hard sometimes when you have like, especially in a big group setting. Like if there's just a few of you playing a game, it's a lot easier to like know when to jump in. But if there's like 6 of us sitting around playing Cards Against Humanity, it's like I could sit there the entire time and not talk. Like and just
werewolf?
be fine. Yeah, werewolf. Like
When you're actually trying to like conceal your identity, or
you're looking at your friend in the eye being like, you are lying to me. And they're like, I would never lie.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's like, oh, I was lying.
there is something about like, if you do have something that you want to say or somewhere to hop in, you have to be like bold about it and confident about it. Because when you do that, when you just jump in with something, it never comes across weird afterward. Like it's always like, oh yeah, they just jumped in. Like that's a totally normal thing to do. But in the moment, it feels like, okay, time for me to speak over everyone.
Yeah, it's like, am I interrupting or am I supporting?
Yeah.
Like, if you're waiting for silence, it's not going to be there.
I think if you're adding to it, then you're not interrupting. I think that you are supporting. And I think in group settings, like I feel like if the group is like on it, on the same page, is like we're expecting you to jump in. That's kind of how I feel. But like sometimes there is a give and take though, obviously. Sometimes you get like I get wild. I like create sub games, and then I'm like, okay, Amanda, you need to stop. And I was like, oh yeah.
And that's fair because it all lends itself to the video. I just
Sometimes.
Well, sometimes, but I think most of the time. I also had this revelation just now, so forgive me because I'm like, I feel like this has become therapy. But because I started with Smosh Games, and what Smosh Games used to be, there was so much gaming content where like people would watch because it's like, oh, that was an amazing gaming moment. They did a crazy trick and then that person won against all odds and it's like, yeah, I won. That was the content. You were supposed to be like, we are gaming now. But it's so not that anymore. It's so casual. And so for a few years there, I think I was still operating on that same paradigm of like, who can take me down? This is gonna be awesome. And then I see comments where it's like, Damien wants to win too bad. And I'm like, oh, I don't give a shit. I've never played this game in my life. Like, that's what the video's supposed to be, right?
And that doesn't lend itself to freedom. It's like such an uncomfortable place to be. It's like, you know, when you're sitting with friends and you're like, well, I don't want to get yelled at. It's like when I do sub games and I love them so much, but I'm like, I know that this is not helping the video and I want to do them. And so I miss my instinct. And it's like, I think that's tricky too for you is because like you've been with Smosh for so long that Smosh Games has changed. Now it is more of like an improv-led ensemble.
And that's what I enjoy most.
Yeah, and I think you should just try to keep going in there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Not trying to take the role of your therapist right now.
No, I haven't gone to therapy in a few months, and I'm working on it. No, but I appreciate you.
For Amanda, someone assumed that you still feel like part of the new Smosh cast, even though you've been working there for 4 years now.
Yes and no. Kind of like I weirdly don't feel like an OG or anything. Yes, I've almost been there for 5 years, and I was there for like 2.5 years, I think 2.5 years before like Angela, Rasha, and Chance. But I weirdly feel like I got super integrated when they came on. I don't know. This is tricky. I really don't know. Sometimes I do feel new. I think I feel new because they brought in such new energy. They brought in such different energy, but I will go back and look at videos when we were doing like every blank ever, and I'll be like, whoa, that feels like decades ago.
Whole lifetime.
So part of me feels like that's a different Smosh. So I guess it's not that I feel like I'm still a new cast member. It's like I still feel like I'm part of this new wave of Smosh.
There were a lot of assumptions that none of y'all ever anticipated working in YouTube in general.
Oh yeah, that's a 100% for me. 100%. Never, ever thought that I would work in YouTube. My goal was to like be on a comedy series, which is funny because that's what I'm on now, but like a comedy network, like the audition, like the classic way of going, but the industry is changing so much.
Well, this kind of career didn't exist like until semi-recent times. Like I watched Smosh as a teenager, but even then I wasn't like, I'm gonna do that one day. Like it wasn't until like I'd already done TV and film stuff and I'd already started voice acting like all those years ago. And times were tough and I worked retail and customer support and then I was a leather craftsman and all this stuff. And then, you know, Shane was like, hey, there's an audition. And I was like, cool. It's like, I'm a YouTube person now. But even that, I feel like an imposter because I'm like, oh, the channel was already built. I didn't do the thing where it's like, I just started with my buddy in a basement and we, you know.
I mean, I've been watching YouTube since I was 11 years old. And I think like, I don't know, I never had like dreams of like a career except like YouTube was probably the really big one. Like when I was like 8, I was like, I'm gonna be in the NBA someday. Like that kind of a kid dream. Like kids are like, I wanna grow up to be an astronaut. Not that that's unachievable. Well, for me, it was probably unachievable. But
you're pretty tall.
Yeah.
You could be an astronaut.
But yeah, I mean, ever since I was a kid and I started watching YouTube, started watching Smosh, started watching PewDiePie when he was doing Slenderman videos, like when Let's Play Gaming was getting big, I was like, I want to be a YouTuber. And then like all through high school, I was like, that would be so cool if that was like actually achievable. And then I graduated high school and I was like, I don't want to go to school for anything normal. Like, I don't want to sit at a desk, which was pretty black sheep for my family. I mean, my dad, he went to school for accounting. My brother has a business degree. And I was like, I think I'm going to go to culinary school and move to LA. And
they were like, what?
No, they're very supportive, which I'm very thankful for. But yeah, and then I kind of just fell into it. And it was funny because I was like, oh, I'm kind of, same as you, where it's like, oh, this is already an established channel. I didn't like really do anything.
Yeah.
But it kind of felt like I was like pseudo, like I kind of achieved my dream of sort of being a YouTuber.
Yeah.
And then like now not having a full-time job and being like full-time talent cast, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then I just released my first ever YouTube video on my own private personal channel, and the support's been unreal on it. And I'm like, oh, I'm like kind of a YouTuber now. Like this is actually sort of the realization of my dream that started 12 years ago of me being like, I'm kind of doing it now, which is insane. So I'm very thankful.
That is amazing.
There were some assumptions that both Damien and Trevor, y'all are kind of monetizing your hobbies in a way, like with gaming and with cooking. Does it feel like that takes away any of the joy of it doing it like on your own time?
No, because I've been streaming 5.5 years now, and I love it. The idea of streaming is wonderful because I get to have one train of thought focused on the chat and keeping a conversation, one train of thought focused on the game. And it allows me to enjoy the game most of the time in a way that I wouldn't really be able to turn off if I were on my own. And I've also like gotten really good at establishing boundaries for myself where like if there's a game that's really meaningful to me and I really want to play it, I used to be like, okay, I'll have one save file for stream, one for myself. I've stopped doing that. I'm like, I'm either gonna stream it or not, or maybe I stream it way after I play it. But like, no, I think if I didn't have streaming tied to gaming, I wouldn't have time to play games. I wouldn't make that time for myself because I've just been so full on voice acting and stuff like that lately.
Yeah.
So I frankly love it.
For cooking, it was a big thing, but I think that was because I was in a kitchen like 9 to 5. I mean, when I was at the studio, I wasn't always in the kitchen, but like I was cooking all the time, cooking everything, doing intense cooking tasks too, like stuff that I really had to put my mind to the point where I was like, I get home and I was like, I don't want to cook. Like, I don't want to do more. So that was really tough. And now that now that I'm not doing that anymore, I found a new sort of passion for cooking again where I really love it and I love doing it for fun.
That's awesome.
It got to the point where we would talk about like eating food on the show. And I don't get how I mean, Josh is always cooking the most insane things at home, but people talk about like, oh, like, what do you like to eat at home? And I'm like, I'd make ham and cheese sandwiches.
With butter.
Literally, I'm making a ham and cheese sandwich and I'm having goldfish with it. And that was like my types of dinners.
That's how you
I was
elevate it
doing.
though.
Oh yeah, I bet if someone's like cooking up these wild experimental dishes, when they're home, they're like, ham and cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because ham and cheese delicious.
It's awesome. It's so good.
Debatable. I'm just kidding. It's great. Love those cured meats.
Smosh has a very dedicated audience, and with that comes a lot of shipping. A lot of people assumed that y'all may be uncomfortable with the shipping that happens. How do y'all feel about that? Is it like, are you happy that people are more involved and taking more of like an approach to that, or does it feel a little uncomfy?
I feel like it means that they're invested and they're having fun and they're curious. And I mean, everyone thinks that Angela and I are possibly married, so I'm like, hell, I'll take it.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that at all.
You haven't?
No.
Oh yeah, because
So
I
you're
haven't.
confirming that y'all are indeed married.
Yeah, we're married.
Okay.
Yeah, this is from Angela.
Yeah.
It only bugged me a bit back in the day when people would like go farther than that. It was like, are these people dating? Is that a thing? And it'd be like, who cares? And then it's like, let's start comparing the backgrounds of their photos at different times. And when you stumble upon something like that, you're like, oh.
Interesting.
Oh, that's intense.
Okay. And then they're like, I know this person went to visit their family at this time, but then this person also did this. So it's possible. I'm like, okay, that's beyond shipping. Like, it's such a small percentage of the audience that would do stuff like that, but like any amount is enough. So don't love that. It bums me out when people do opposite shipping, where like for a while people were like, Damien and Angela like hate each other. And I was like,
Like rivals.
Not even rivals, just like, wow, Damien clearly was like not having it with Angela today. I'm like, in what possible way? I'm not the best at social cues, but even that, I'm just like,
If it makes you feel a little bit better, they did that with Angela and I before. Now we're married.
okay. And now they do that too.
They're like, they're sisters fighting, and now we're sisters married.
yeah,
So
okay, yeah.
Nice.
That's the pipeline.
Amanda, someone assumed that you get annoyed at chronically offline comments.
no. I think it's hilarious because sometimes I watch like when you taught me watch me whip, watch me nay nay. Sometimes I literally go, but here's the thing. I don't get annoyed at all, but I go, damn, Amanda, You are cool. You are cool. But sometimes I literally walk myself into these old woman situations. And I'm like, I do it to myself. I literally do it to myself. But it's almost like I'm playing this like fun character, but then I'm like, no, it's also real.
But how cool to be able to explain to someone the nene or harambe. Like, you don't get to do that anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also like, yeah, I grew up, my parents were super, super strict about screen time. Like I was not allowed to watch too much TV. I was allowed to watch movies on like AMC, which is why I'm obsessed with movies. And I wasn't allowed to play that many video games. I was only allowed to play like GoldenEye and like Grand Theft Auto.
Those were the two?
Yeah, those were the two.
We don't want you getting screwed up by games, so you have to do open world crime where you shoot.
They didn't know. So I was just like, I didn't get a cell phone until I was like 17. Yes, chronically offline, yeah, it's legit. I was outside a lot. But it's really fun to get taught shit, although people from home were like, come on, harambe. I was like,
there's also different levels of chronically offline. Like I spend a ton of time on Twitter, but I'm barely on TikTok. So like Raven will be like, oh, you don't know this TikTok trend? How do you not know it? And I'm like, there are times that I'm chronically offline.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad thing. And I think people are varying levels of chronically offline.
Amanda, one more for you. You said a lot of people assume that you're mean or condescending.
yeah.
When they haven't really met you and they don't really know you. They just assume that about you.
Yeah, that's been a thing since forever. Since I was like middle school, teenager, like everyone was like, oh yeah, she's a bitch. When I wore like a hat like this, they're like, yeah, bitch.
That's a hat bitch right there.
No, they just thought that I was like, from afar, they're like, oh, she's mean. And I don't know if that meant like intimidating mean, like, oh, I don't want to talk to her. And also I was always a bartender. Right? And I'm from Boston.
Yeah.
So I'm very direct. And sometimes my bits are like direct. But yeah, people would assume that I would be mean from afar. Like I remember a lot of people that I used to work with at various bars that I worked at would be like, yeah, I was kind of afraid to talk to you because I thought like you were like kind of mean or like, or wouldn't give me the time of day or kind of just like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I've gotten that forever.
That's so weird.
And it is true. I am such a bitch.
I will say, I feel like you're one of like the most warm and inviting people, like meeting you and knowing you. It's just like so off base. It was so fun.
I think I get that when a lot of people haven't spoken to me. And so like when fans come up to me, they'll be like, wow, you're so nice.
Really?
That's their biggest thing. They'll be like, you're so nice. And I was like, yeah.
You didn't try to hit me or nothing.
So it's like, I think...
You didn't even spit on me.
I think it's like, once they come and talk to me, they're like, oh, wow. But it's like, I genuinely love talking to people.
Caroline Doss assumes that Damien is going to pull away from Smosh as his voice acting career takes off.
No, not on my end, not intentionally.
I mean, it's taken off.
Yeah,
it is, but
it's took off.
It's
in the air. It's reached cruising altitude.
Yeah.
It just hit a goose. We have to aim for the pond. No, look, I've been voice acting for 13 years now, and I think I posted that TikTok finally of like, thank you, of the like, I'm a voice actor, and like the amount of people who are shocked by that, and great, like you don't have to know me from anything, but it's always been a part of my life and I've always been able to balance it. You know, yes, things have gotten a lot more busy now, but I also think the perception has been influenced by the fact that like projects take a long time to come out. And there were a few things that came out all at the same time. So it was like, wow, booked and busy. And it's like, no, this has been years.
Yeah.
You know, Fortnite and Starfield, I started at about the same time, like right when I started Smosh. And Starfield I got to announce like last year.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, you got in Starfield. I was like, yeah, when originally you saw me on the internet. Like, that's just kind of how it goes. So, you know, as much as, you know, people want to bring me in for videos, I'm here. And that's something I really enjoy. And I don't want to full on lean into something. And also like there are seasons of shows. Video games, you can do an entire game in like 3 sessions, even if you're a medium to big part. Like, you know, I love doing it. I would be in the booth every day if possible. But like for the past 2 months, I've had weeks where I was in a booth every day, sometimes 2 different bookings a day. And it's the most exciting and fun, fulfilling, rewarding thing I've ever experienced. But it can't be forever. And there will be lean times too. Like I balance Twitch streaming, I balance Smosh, I balance voice acting, and I will do that until I'm unable to ever again. You know,
it's literally so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think voiceover acting is so amazing and challenging, especially with animation, which you do so much animation in video games. Like, I just think it's so challenging. And just for me doing voiceover commercials, I'm like, the animation world would be so fun. And I think it's fucking awesome that you're balancing all of it.
Thank you very much. I sometimes worry I'm in a coma right now and thinking it's all happening because it's like,
don't say that.
I don't know. I'm really happy, and part of me always waits for like the other shoe to drop when I'm that happy. But it feels like I'm living the dream right now, and I'm very proud of the work that I'm doing. So thank you.
If you can hear me, wake up. Damien, it's time to come back.
I smell your bread. I smell your sandwiches. Cured meats and bread. Amanda, Trevor.
Damien is always white knighting to pander to people to get more views.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you were in the pronouns game.
I am in Starfield, yeah.
Do you know the meme where the guy...
angry bald guy.
Oh, yeah.
You were in the pronouns game. So
that's right.
That was kind of white knighting of you to do that.
As the person that invented pronouns. No, it's just...
The woke left got Damien from Smosh.
Got him. I think I really like to listen to people when they talk about their experiences, and I like to make sure people feel respected. So sometimes, you know, when there's something like a social issue that like would benefit from being talked about more, or just like with little reminders of like, hey, you know, just so you know, they use they, them pronouns, like don't, you know, just not a big deal, but just reminder, you know, if you are the person that's bringing it up, sometimes it can seem like disingenuous. And I think also like a lot of my Twitch community is either neurodivergent or they are queer or in some capacity like either genderqueer or sexually queer. And it's, I think because I am like a cis-het white dude, there is this sense of like, well, you don't really believe that though. You're not really like listening to those folks. I'm like, no, but I do. And you know, I try to use my platform that I have, you know, through Twitch or what have you to express my honest opinions and help people feel supported. And whatever I say online is legitimately me. I'm not just gonna say something to say it.
Remember, most people are speaking from what they think.
Yeah.
Like they're projecting on like, well, that's, if I did that, that's kind of what I was saying. And it's like, you're gonna get that forever.
Yeah.
You're going to get that always. And it's like, just keep doing things that you feel is right for you.
Absolutely.
Trevor, I want to do a few for you. Someone assumed that you are wanting to avoid to be just put in the chef role at Smosh and not just be pigeonholed into that.
Yeah. Actually, that's funny. I don't think I've ever had a problem specifically at Smosh with that. I don't think anybody at Smosh has ever tried to pigeonhole me into a chef role. And I think when I have done food stuff, I was never even on Eat It or Yeet It. I was never asked to help out. I was never on the show. So it was like almost like the opposite. I find that in other places, I kind of want to avoid that. Like I do love doing everything. I love gaming. I love, you know, just being funny and being entertaining. And so I don't want to specifically get stuck in where people are like, oh, you have to do cooking things. It has to be cooking related. I even had someone in the industry tell me, they were like, where I specifically told them, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I really want to like only do cooking stuff. They're like, no, you have to stay in cooking. They're like, you're really funny and it's hard to find people that are like really talented like chefs and also like funny entertainers. Like you have to stay in that, like you're a unicorn in that role. And I was like, well, I can kind of do it all, I feel like. Overall, like I now have the opportunity to do a lot more broad things, but at Smosh, I've never felt like I've been pigeonholed.
I don't think we don't have like a cooking, we have culinary crimes, but we bring someone else in to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just a goofy show. Like it's not.
It's a goof.
It's a goof.
I also imagine like it's probably not the same as when you're like, oh, I'm a comedian, and then someone in your family is like, oh, you're a comedian? Tell us a joke. Like with cooking, it's kind of a whole situation where you can't just come in and someone's like, can you whip us up some duck à l'orange? Like, can you just make that happen, please?
Yeah.
You know.
I do get asked when I go home a lot. Like,
I knew he was gonna say that.
It is a thing. Actually,
well, that was my assumption.
Trevor definitely was SpongeBob for Halloween, at least once.
I was never SpongeBob. However, I did once decorate my pumpkin. Instead of carving a pumpkin, I painted the whole thing to look like, I made a Gary the Snail pumpkin.
Aww.
So I painted the shell,
That's
like the pumpkin
cute.
was the shell, and then I made this little like body for it and eyes.
Something SpongeBob would do.
Wow. Ah.
So I do love SpongeBob. Actually, I watched the SpongeBob SquarePants movie just a few days ago.
Wow.
So not totally off base. with
No,
that
not off
assumption.
base
No.
at all.
All right, y'all, we're gonna move to our segment. We're gonna have some fun with some memes. Basically,
Okay.
So this is Preacher Grandmas. Do you have time to talk about our Lord and Savior, Jimmy Buffett?
Oh, that's
And
amazing.
it's me and Shane as Krungle.
That's awesome.
So I was like, if it was just preachers, you'd need the hat. You'd need the Southern Lady hat.
Can I be honest? My mom and dad were obsessed with Jimmy Buffett, and they wore hula skirts, and they were parrot heads. That's what they call Jimmy Buffett fans.
Okay.
And so, yeah, this makes sense for a lot of people. I think this is an A for me.
That's good.
Oh,
Whoa.
Whoa,
Take it easy.
hey.
Hey. Don't destroy all the Smosh furniture or draw 25.
Whoa, this
got-
picture.
that's awesome.
A guy destroys one couch. A guy breaks one couch.
Did you do that? You were the
Yeah,
one who
he
did
was the
that?
one who broke it.
Okay, but
I
to be
wasn't there,
fair, it was a group effort. We were all jumping up and down on the couch like crazy. Also, I'm pretty sure
Well,
it's
then
an
what
old
went
couch.
wrong?
It was just that it broke specifically when I leaned back and the back leg on the couch. I've destroyed one piece of furniture, so I think it's funny that now I'm the furniture breaker guy. I give it a B.
Welcome to Smosh.
I give it a B.
Wow. See, I'd put this above Jimmy
Yeah.
Buffett.
Above Jimmy Buffett.
Buffett?
Jimmy Buffett.
Oh my God. Maybe it's because it's a meme, and so I'm like.
Yeah, he's feeling a little.
Okay. Well, then can we agree on A then?
I
in
would
the
give it
same
an A.
tier.
Sure, let's give
Jimmy
it an
Buffett.
A.
Okay.
I was down for B though. I get it.
Okay, well then if you'll both...
No.
No, we got a whole hive over here with you two Bs.
No, let's go A.
Let's go A.
Okay, so we have two
I don't
A's.
want to fight anymore.
Yeah, let's not fight.
When the Homo sapien in the foreground shows an expression of delight in their face, oppose this smile, the Homo sapien in the middle ground shows a face of seemingly displeasure.
What?
I don't know, Kimmy and I are looking at different This is gonna be sail the seven seas for me, dog.
This is someone trying to do the thing where they do like a very long rambly with a lot of big words, but it's just not really.
If you're gonna do that, you can only make so many mistakes. Like, I'm not a
Yeah.
grammar guy, but
I don't know what it's going for.
I'm giving it C.
I'm giving it a C.
C is good, yeah.
Yeah, because we
And
just.
I'm gonna circle it, and I'm gonna say, see me after class.
Yeah, oh, love it.
Like, is everything okay at home?
People magazine, ma'am, a shortening article has hit our website. This is a fact.
Oh, thank God.
It's me.
There you go, it's back.
It's me because I'm obsessed with people. I'm obsessed with people. And you know, what's weird is they've never reached out to me for an employment. And you know, to be a correspondent. And I think that's interesting. And this is my face during FNAF.
You're familiar with where this image is from, the date and time?
Nope.
So this is George Bush getting the news about 9/11. He's reading to a classroom full of children, and he's getting news. I believe specifically that a second plane has hit the tower, and he's getting the 9/11 news.
Oh my God.
I tell you what, Smosh fans love their 9/11 memes, which is
my
like,
God.
it's gonna be a bell curve. Where
I
like
do
right
not
now
like
it's fine.
9/11 jokes. I've never laughed at a night. I'm like, oh my God. If I didn't know that, I would have given it an A. Now that I know that, I give it a B.
Give it a B.
Okay. No, a B's good though. A B's good.
Roast of Shane, Ian, Olivia, Amanda, etc. Just a bunch of people playing and having a good time. Love that the watermark is still on there. Don't pay them. And then roast of Damien. Yeah. There's someone
What?
blindfolded in front of a firing squad. Yeah.
Whoa!
I mean, it's canonically accepted in the Smosh community that my roast was probably
Wait, your funeral
my
roast?
funeral roast. Yeah.
Did you like me as your voiceover agent?
Yes. I think you did a very good job.
Thank you.
Yours
Even
is
though
like
it
the
was
most
not your
brutal.
voiceover agent, it was just a random.
You didn't
person
spend
I
the
made
3
up.
weeks with them like I'd asked and set up.
No,
you didn't
I
research them at all.
didn't. God
You didn't
damn
go
it.
method?
but-
You didn't book him jobs?
But yeah, this
No.
was there was some spicy back and forth between us.
I do believe I remember watching it
seen his
being like, whew, yeah. Maybe like a B to me.
Yeah.
Feels like a B.
Yeah, B.
a
Let's
B.
go with a B.
Amanda Lehan-Canto, get your agent. Tim Burton is set to direct Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, a remake of the classic 1958 movie for Warner Brothers. Gillian Flynn will write the script. Source, deadline.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Attack of
Thank
the
you.
50
She's hot as
stupid.
Is my agent in that little car and I'm gonna take them for a meeting?
I think that's the implication. You're taking them to a little meeting, and you're taking them to Aroma Cafe just to, get some stuff. And then...
Honestly, I give this one an S because this is a vibe.
That's awesome.
I kind of fucking love it.
I want to give it an S, but if they're gonna put your face over George Bush, it's so easy to put your face there.
My God, I know.
No, I think it's deserving
Okay,
of an
so
S.
it's an S,
I think
but
it
with
is.
Damien, it's an S minus.
Am I the only one who sees this? I was watching the Leap of Faith video today and was just thinking Trevor reminded me of Shaggy for some reason. I haven't seen anyone make this comparison, but I can't unsee it now that I noticed it.
Oh,
What do you mean you haven't seen anyone make that comparison?
I was gonna say, I get that all the time.
yeah.
I also do the Shaggy voice.
What is it?
Zoinks like a Scoob, like Bud, like we gotta get out of here. Like Bud, like there's a ghost right there. No, I do get Shaggy all the time though. I'm surprised this person's never seen it.
So what do you rate it?
I mean, it's not really a meme. It's more of just like here's a comparison. Like I notice he looks like Shaggy. I don't know, probably like a C.
Whoa.
B?
I give it a C plus B minus.
Firing squad.
C plus B minus.
That one was good, but it was better than.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is
I'll give it a C plus B minus.
All right, we'll give
B
it a
minus.
C. Baby Lehan-Canto coming, 9/11/24.
It is-
Another 9/11 joke, eh?
It is
is this
Amanda
have to do with,
rubbing a pregnant
Is this
Knuckles.
have to do with Knuckles? I know what this is.
Okay.
This is Chance being me on Smosh Mouth with Knuckles references.
Okay, got it. Knuckles has been guarding the Master Emerald that keeps Angel Island afloat for a very long time. So
Right.
I know he's totally fine carrying your Babbo for 9 months. And the actual animal of echidnas are monotremes, so they have 4 beepuses and they lay eggs. So just want you all to know that.
I don't even know what you just said, but that sounds awesome.
That's real. And so Knuckles canonically has 4 dicks and lays eggs.
Wow, okay, so 4 for Knuckles, got it.
Yeah.
I can stand behind that. So
Knuckles and I have so much in common.
I'm going to rate, no.
You got a
You
collection
eat
too?
cereal, no. I'm gonna rate this a B.
That's my first S.
This is your
Really?
S?
I as a pregnant Sonic enjoyer, I definitely would give it an A or an S.
I give it an S.
Okay,
It
well,
took effort.
I'll go with an A.
Trevor walking into Smosh like, I bring a sort of silly goose vibe to the situation that serious geese don't really understand.
Wait, I kind of love this.
Oh, it's Mulder?
It's
I love it.
X-Files, right?
I've seen that before without the Trevor walking into Smosh like, but that's good. It is interesting because, I feel like there are a lot of silly geese at Smosh.
Yeah.
But I do just love that meme in general.
Am I a silly geese?
You're a silly goose.
Sounds weird that I say silly geese.
You're a playful ptarmigan.
Am I a silly goose?
Yeah, I do bring a sort of silly
I love
goose
this.
vibe to
You do.
many situations that serious geese don't really understand.
Well, you're always like eating bread and it's like a lot to watch you like work it down your neck. And
Yeah,
you'll just
exactly.
poop wherever.
Yeah.
And
I
fight
do
someone.
poop wherever.
Need to stop pooping everywhere, but.
It's white.
So what do we rate this, babies?
Give it an A.
I give it an A.
I give it an A.
Yeah.
Amanda and the kids on Smosh games.
Oh my
So it's an
God.
adult woman in the early 90s playing the original Game Boy. From what I can tell, I believe that is the Tetris cartridge.
Oh, love Tetris.
And everybody in a bowl cut.
Even I have bowl cut.
Swear to God, I thought this was an actual photo of my childhood.
Yeah, I mean, it totally looks like it. Wow, that is what I look like when I'm like very
awesome.
serious.
Great.
This is excellent, actually. I love this.
Yeah.
Have you've played a Game
Slay.
Boy?
I have played a Game Boy.
Wow.
So my little sister was obsessed with Game Boy and like loved playing games.
Now, you said your family limited a lot of screen time. Was
They
it
gave
different
it to
for your
her.
sister? Really?
Yeah, that's what she was into, that and karate.
So your sister probably knows Harambe.
Kia.
Your sister and I probably would have been friends or fought.
No, yeah, she was super cool. We were very close. I was the one with the video camera, so I'd always make little commercials with her. She
That was my sister.
She was my everything. She was like, every role that I needed to cast was her. I give this one an S. I think it's sick.
S.
S for sick.
That's for sick
Give it
little
an S.
kids.
For super duper.
Great, y'all. I think that's the last one, if not.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Great.
It is-
Don't keep swiping, don't keep swiping.
In a few days, we have voice actors coming in for an Assumptions episode. Richard Horvitz, who is
Oh, no way.
Yeah, Invader Zim. We have Sarah Nato-Cheney, the voice of Ash Ketchum.
Incredible.
And we have Sungwon Cho, your
Yes.
co-actor. Do y'all have any assumptions that you would like us to ask them?
I got one for Sungwon
Oh, yeah?
because Sungwon is also somebody that has done a lot of content creation online and is very popular from it, but also wants to be taken very seriously as a voice actor. Like he's expressed that a lot. You still feel like you have to downplay anything you do online in order to feel like you're taken seriously as a voice actor?
I feel like my biggest one, I don't know if it's necessarily an assumption, but more of like a vibe check on like, I feel like animation is becoming more and more appreciated, and is there sort of a hard feeling toward traditional actors being cast as main roles in large animated productions?
That is so good.
Yeah.
Because like there are some people where it's like, I feel like if you just gotten someone who's like a professional voice actor, this character could have been done so much better. Cough, cough, Chris Pratt, Mario, like.
That's a good assumption. I'm always wondering that, like, can you be a really good actor and also be a really good voiceover actor? Because I don't know. I don't know if you can be.
I don't know, I guess if it all goes to shit, then eventually I'd go back home and open a sandwich shop or something, bake
There's
fresh
always
bread
that.
every day.
Oh.
Honestly,
Okay, that sounds amazing.
yeah, you could easily do it. I would
Easily.
eat your sandwiches every day, Trevor.
Yeah.
I would have them flown in.
I love cured meats.
Oh, they're so
I
good for you
love
too, the
cured
nitrates.
I love cured meats.
If I wasn't doing this, I would go live on an island and be a scuba instructor. That has been like my
In Turks and Caicos?
my secret. I love Turks and
I know
Caicos.
you do.
That
That's
would
why I
be
said
like
it.
my secret like backup plan.
Wow.
But then there's so much nitrogen in their blood. They're crazy.
Oh, it's wild.
Oh no. So
You'd be the cured meat, I tell you that much, with the nitrates. I just found for sale a type of industrial sewing machine that I used to use at that leathercraft shop that I used to work at right before Smosh. It's my backup plan. I'm like, I still have my hammer and my tools and the sides of leather. And I'm a craftsman. I'm like, I make belts. You want to buy a belt?
You go over to Damien's house and he just says the fire going and he's like, welcome in.
Bellows.
Like a glass of mead.